now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very excited to present to you 4 entrepreneurs who made a long journey in raising significant funding doing the first IPO of ConstructionTech here in Tel Aviv, as well as working together with the largest global construction companies. I'm proud to announce the first cohort of ConTech's Hall of Fame startups. Let's welcome Tal Merizon, the CEO of Datumate. Tal has a vast experience in leading global growth stage startups, as well as mature privately or publicly owned high-tech companies. A strategic leader, Tal built a dedicated team of construction, civil engineering, geoinformation, and high-tech professionals, driving Datumate's leadership as innovators in the infrastructure construction space. Yair Sudri, the CTO and co-founder of BuildDots. Yakir and his 2 counterpart co-founders are graduates of the Talpiot Elite Program. He served for 10 years in the IDF's Intelligence Corps, leading R&D teams and groups working on complex cybersecurity systems. Leading BuildDots R&D division, Yakir and his team developed an AI and computer vision algorithm that creates a digital twin of the construction site, documenting every detail of the construction process. Daniel Ivesha, chairman of Beyond 3D. Daniel Ivesha is an entrepreneur with a successful track record in the hotel and restaurant industry. His broad international background and business experience gives him a unique ability to connect with stakeholders in international enterprises. Danny Herman, co-founder and chief product officer of Versatile. Danny is a product manager at heart, building products that challenge the status quo is his true passion. He began his career as a software developer, taking a detour through pre-sales, sales, managing professional services, and finally, this path has led him to product. He holds a BSc degree in computer science and an MBA in finance. And Gali Bloch Liran, a senior lecturer at the Adelson School of Entrepreneurship in the IDC Herzliya, a startup and VC executive coach working with all ConTech startups, and a podcaster. Check out her podcast, who will facilitate this live panel. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. So let's begin with a short video worth millions. Let's watch together what those startups are capable of.
Gilbane wants to be a leader in innovation, and our relationship with Versatile has allowed us to be on the front edge of new technology in the construction market.
I'm Marav Oren. I'm the CEO and very much proud co-founder of Versatile. Construction is really manufacturing, and job sites are factories. What if we could non-invasively get the data that we need out to help people control the process? We zoned in on the crane because it's almost like a control tower on a busy airport. And by going under the hook, we serve in a very non-intrusive, naturally fit into workflows. The multi-sensor approach under the hook really tells us the story of the job site. We're here to change sequences of events. I've always been amazed by the leadership and the innovation of the different teams that I've interacted with at Gilbane. And the team that we serve right now has done incredible things with the data. I can always see the best practices that shine out.
When the equipment arrived to the job site, it was just a matter of plug and play. Once the device was raised up, it was all go live from there. Crane View data comes to us on a daily basis based on the work performed the previous day. The daily digests are a great tool to see how effective we were in the field the previous day and what things we may need to change on the following day.
I get a daily email with a digest that tells me right off the bat how efficient they were, the utilization percentage. If I'm hoping to see something in the 90s. If I don't, I will dig deeper.
There's different data that we're able to get so we can see if there's any outliers. So we're able to go back and look at the camera footage, decide if this is something that we're possibly going to see over and over again. We're allowed to then plan around that. So I think a combination of getting the data in email form and then watch it real time remotely, it allows me to still be connected to the work. Being as safety conscious as we are, I think having the ability to look right down on top of the connectors you know, the riggers, the guys hooking the stuff up on the ground. If you see something like that, then you can get something corrected.
As a safety director, I'm able to use the information, the data points, and the video from CraneView to identify training needs and best practices, lessons learned that we can utilize on our projects for not only our Gilbane employees, but also our contractors. The data that I'm able to collect is really transforming our ordinary into the extraordinary.
Managing infrastructure construction projects is a race against time and a fight against deviations. Basing decisions on outdated information can cost you dearly. Datubim captures field data via drones to deliver critical metrics and actionable insight you need to better manage your site. Gain visibility with accurate, constantly updated digital twins of the as-built. Uncover deviations and solve problems promptly. Improve efficiency. Save time and money with our automated end-to-end process. Get engineering analytics and reports with survey-grade accuracy delivered within hours, not weeks. Datubim checks every box. Visualization of work progress, visual inspection and quality assurance, comparison of actual to plan and cross-section delta reports, tracking of volumes, earthwork, schedule, and budget, digital documentation of the entire life cycle and custom reports. With our secure cloud-based software, you have all your project data and analytics when and where you need it. Easily share insights across teams to improve collaboration, to solve problems more efficiently and faster. Datubim, making construction data work for you.
Hi, I'm Sophie Morris. I'm a Customer Success Manager here at BuildDots. I trained as a civil engineer and pursued a career as a construction manager on site, previously working at Mace. I'm very familiar with the industry and the type of client I face in my customer success role. When working on site, one of the biggest challenges I found was having enough hours in the day to deliver the project, but also communicate effectively with the team and keep the right type of records. For sure, if my previous project teams and I had had access to BuildDots, our life would have been a lot easier. I'll always remember from my first weeks of working with BuildDots, one of my clients told me, "This is the future," and I agree with him. But enough about me, here's a video which shows what BuildDots is all about.
Managing a construction site is a huge challenge that requires complete control over tens of thousands of details. With BuildDots, capturing progress data is as easy as doing a site walk. Wearing a hard hat mounted 360 camera is all that the platform needs to create a digital twin of your construction site, documenting every single detail of the construction process. Based on this digital twin, the BuildDots Control Center app gives you detailed reports and a comprehensive view of your project to help you manage your resources and avoid delays, deviations from the schedule, incorrect installations, and partly completed tasks are all flagged instantly, making sure you're always in control. From weekly trade meetings to monthly valuations, BuildDots is specifically designed to suit your existing workflows. Leading construction companies across Europe already rely on BuildDots to increase margins, boost productivity, and get ahead of the competition. Book a free demo today at builddots.com.
Hi everybody, my name is Patrick Scow and I am the construction lead for BuildDots UK. So my background, I used to work in the construction industry. I worked on site in New York City for multiple years. My main observation was the fact that technology wasn't being adopted on site as much as I wanted it to. So I wanted to be part of that change, and hence the role of BuildDots, which has really opened my eyes to bringing technology into the construction sector. So BuildDots offers a change that I've never seen in construction. I know that for a fact. What it does is it gives you a level of objectivity that I don't think the construction industry has ever had, and it allows you to look at a site team objectively without any bias and really make a difference on how your projects are run. The data that we collect, as I said, is objective, but also in the fact that how we use that data in terms of the program, the scheduling, and the error detection within our system is all ways that really are changing the industry for the better. So when I first heard about BuildOps, I sat down with one of the co-founders, Aviv, for an interview with him for the new job, and he showed me a bit of the tech, and I genuinely couldn't believe it. I didn't think it was real, because I'd been looking for this sort of solution for so long in my old role that suddenly it was presented to me, and it almost seemed too good to be true. And it turns out it's not. It's real, and it's actively deployed on sites all over the world right now.
We hope you enjoyed hearing a bit more about BuildOps today and how we're helping contractors work smarter and more efficiently.
And if you'd like any more information or a demo, please reach out to us on our website at www.buildops.com.
Hello everyone, it's very exciting to have you here with us. Israel is known as the startup nation, but nowadays there's a big emphasis on growing to be the scale-up nation by helping startup companies evolve. So I'd like you to share some of your most significant takeaways and insights from your journey as successful entrepreneurs helping to grow the Israeli construction tech industry by more than 800% over the last 4 years. Yakir, let's begin with you. So what was your biggest challenge in driving change and innovation in the construction industry?
Thanks, Gali. So I think there are two main challenges that we're facing. The first one is how can we take the technology and take our technology and making it accessible and valuable on actual construction sites, because having a super advanced and cutting edge technology is nice and it's important, but the main point is translating this technology to real world product that has tangible value and delivers what it's meant to deliver. And this is the main challenge on this area, taking this technology and making it to a real product that construction site can use. I think the second challenge is taking what we do and actually delivering what we promise and what we want to achieve on construction sites, because I think today most construction companies and most managers on the advanced construction companies have already heard about advanced technology, and they've heard about different products on construction sites that can help them, that are super advanced, but most of them haven't experienced that yet. So we want to always be able to deliver what we promise and to over-deliver what we promise and keep them always happy and excited about the next things that we want to deliver for them, because you pretty much get only one chance and you can't disappoint, and you must always over-deliver what you promised. And this is the second challenge I think that we face.
And how did you act? What did you do in order to deal with those challenges?
I think it is always keeping the entire company very focused on those challenges, making sure everyone are aligned with that, exposing to the customer what we will deliver, under promise and over deliver all the time. This is the thing that we're always trying to do, and it seems to be working out quite well once we manage to do that and focus our attention on that specifically.
So your superpower was focus.
Yes, aligning, it's more than focus, it's It's aligning the entire company and everyone on board with that, and also aligning the customer itself on what to expect, what we will deliver, and how we can use that and be excited about that.
Wonderful, thanks here. Any other challenges that someone wants to mention?
I think we probably all face the same thing. I mean, we all startups in the construction industry, unlike others. I remember when we started, we used to pitch, they used to tell us high-tech and construction, you have high-tech, low-tech, and then construction industry. And I think the last 2 years, 3 years, with the openness to prop tech and construction tech, this challenge is lately diminishing. But initially, nobody understood what we were talking about. What does industrial robotics revolution or high precision or data management have to do with such a low-tech industry? And I think that this was the initial biggest challenge. And now, after that has been diminished, we are facing other challenges, each one more individually.
Of the new phases.
Thank
you. Tal, let's continue with you. So what was the major step that enabled your growth during the last 18 months of global pandemic?
Okay. So I'll start from the general and then we'll go to the pandemic.
Sure.
So the challenge in the growth is to be able first to access the customers, and second, to understand deeply what is the problem that we are solving for them. So for us, that we are dealing with infrastructure construction, big elongated projects, owners, general contractors, the access to the customers is with partners. So for us, the main enabler to address the customers is partners. Partners can be software companies like us, but much bigger, that they find in our technology complementary technology to what they are selling, and then they have a portfolio. So those can be business partners. And the other partners that helps to understand the value that we can bring with our technology is the design partners. So design partners can be big owners, Caltrans in the US, iRoads in Israel. So those are the type of design partners. So working with partners in our industry, which are long cycles, big project, huge opportunity, but requires a quicker access to the customers, is working with partners. So we enabled ourselves to grow through partners. In the pandemic, it was even more accelerated because we had to work remotely. The value, if we can call it this way, in the pandemic in the infrastructure was time. It was the fact that the roads were empty, so some of the projects were accelerated. So people were looking for solutions that can address quickly the problem, and they were looking for solutions that can work remotely, which is exactly what we are doing. So in this sense, the pandemic actually opened for us the opportunity, and we streamlined ourselves to be able to do it ourselves and with partners. So we grew, I think, in the last 3 months about 3 times in our business, and the enabler
in sales, in clients, in
sales, in clients. We have today more than 100 customers.
Wow, that's impressive.
And tripled ourselves during the last 18 months.
So by talking about partners, you're actually talking about nurturing relationships, which is something super crucial for startups while they evolve, both with investors and with the partners that you're working with.
Yeah, being in different industries and being in ConstructionTech, it's always the challenge of how to address the customers, but in this market, which is a huge market with a very diversified amount of customers and customers that has the challenge of change. So working with partners that already work with those customers and enable with our technology those partners to bring more value, I think this is the way to go.
Thank you. Anyone else that wants to mention something about the growth?
I think for us it's less the part, but it's the customers themselves. And the distance and everything even made it more required to create that trusted advisor relationship with our customers. And I think what really enabled our growth over the last 18 months is the fact that because of that nurturing and the way we always think about the value to the customer, our customers became our biggest advocates and released just the video you saw. It was actually produced by our customers, basically without our hands touching it even. So the fact that they become our biggest advocates and talked about the value that we brought in, it created a rapid growth that we were, pandemic started, we stopped everything, and suddenly we jumped and multiplied customers and sites. That was amazing, and it was because of those relationships that turned into them being our advocates and seeing us as partners. And that is crucial, especially in such, I would say, a dinosaur industry in some way, which is all about the relationship and the people.
Because it also involves to educate a new market and new customers to embrace technologies and things that they are not used to. So once they
I
saw
don't
your
like the
value,
word educate because it's a bit, I won't say arrogant, but it's really being there as trusted advisors and listening to them and working with them because they know better. And that's the way we approach it. I think that paid off immensely over the last 18 months.
that's wonderful. And you're emphasizing that they saw the value that you bring, so they wanted to pass it forward already for you.
Yeah, and in the end, in such industry, a lot of the leads, a lot of the sales are coming from this, like you have a project, and then when the project is over, these people that you touched, and if you touched a lot of them, are moving into 40 other projects. And that's the multiplier. That's the kind of the land and expand
And this
approach.
is one of the advantages of those industry, because each company has so many projects that the scale is easier in that manner.
And not even within the company, because people move a lot. So if you do a good job on every site you're on to those people, then that's your expansion path.
Great. Danny, let's continue with you in another aspect. What do you see as the main incentive of talents to join ConstructionTech startups?
So it's funny that you take the greatest minds of our generation today that are spending their talent on optimizing on a button that will get people to click and add more. And I think with everything going around and people are starting to look for more essence in what they're doing, and construction bring that like tons of it. We really are dealing with world problems, like with things like in 30 years, if things won't change and things we're trying to change, people will be out of homes. There's not enough workers and not enough, construction is not moving fast enough. So that's one part of it, which is more of like the biggest, the being part of something big. The other part is that I think, and my colleagues can testify for that, the fact that we're tech and construction creates a very unique culture in our companies that is different than everything I know. And there's something about that balance of, you said before, that construction and tech and how that can actually combine together. Well, it combines beautifully together and create a culture that is really unique and fun to work, because the things you do have physical impact. And just the fact that I can go driving in the road and my son points on a crane and asks me, are you there? Is something that's that ad you just looked at I optimized it. That doesn't seem, it's not the same.
And that's wonderful. I totally agree with you about culture. How do you do it in your company?
Yeah, I want to add to it. I agree with the fact that it's a global human problem, visible, that you're solving, and it's very easy to explain. I think that the challenge was the perception that, yes, it's an industry which is not high-tech and so on. Today, we're talking about multiple technologies, the highest challenges, the need to build very user-friendly, very simple, because this industry to consume, you have to bring something which is very simple, but it touches very complicated processes. So the challenge here is from the engineering point of view, is very big, it's very vivid, and it's enabled people that are coming from the construction domain and from the technology domain, ConstructionTech, to mold together subject matter expert here and technology people here, and then it becomes, a big orchestra, which is really solving a real problem for real people globally. And I think this is what drives a lot of people in this industry.
I agree.
Also to add to what Danny said here, and I completely agree. I think everybody talks about disruption all the time, and there are not many industries left to disrupt. And the construction industry is not only the biggest industry, it's one of the less effective, less efficient, and with the less change in the past 100 years, unlike the last 5 years that has been immense new technologies and an increasement in acceptance of new technologies. And I think that if anybody really wants to be part of change and part of disruption, this is probably the biggest and last industry left to disrupt. So that's a huge incentive.
So if I'll take it another step forward, so what do you think is the next big trend in construction tech and prop tech startups? What do you think?
Well, I believe there are a few different levels that are still left untapped. One of them is the one we are touching, this automation and robotics, bringing the industrial robotic revolution into the construction industry. I believe that manufacturing in general and automation, everything to do with safety. I think that also because of the corona, something we've experienced is the need to start manufacturing locally and not be reliant on shipments from other countries. And there's been a lot of delays and a lot of dependency on outsourcing. So anything you can do in-house and reduce your dependency on others will help.
The supply chain, actually.
Changing the supply chain completely, ordering components from China, ordering components from India, when you can manufacture locally, much cheaper, much more efficient, customizable.
To your country.
In our situation, it's different because we use robotics, so we actually reduce certain jobs and increase in other places, but this is what change always does. But I believe it's mainly integration between the different levels of the industry. You know, there's been a lack of integration. Now with different software and BIM companies, we can have complete communication from the design into the actual people that are working on site. And it's been such a fragmented industry. And I believe the biggest thing that's coming is the unity of all these different fractions of the industry into one holistic process that's much easier and much more efficient to build and produce. And safety is a huge issue that, especially here in Israel, we are facing, and I believe that's something that will have a lot of emphasis also.
Thank you. Someone wants to add anything? So, are the construction sites really ripe for digital revolution that we're all talking about? What do you see is going on there?
I think the basic answer is yes. I think that construction sites today, they understand there are a lot of changes in the technology and construction sites. They use tablets today that they haven't used in a few years ago. They use BIM more and more to design. They use various collaborative applications to share data and to have everyone on board. And I think that the main change today is that companies understand that if you're not moving forward, you're moving backwards. So they're very hungry for new technology, for things that will change how they do stuff and will make them get to better results. But in order to do that, you must always get them on board, show them what we can deliver, how we can do that, listen to them to what they want to do and how they think they should do that, and try to give them real and tangible value. I think this is the main issue. You don't get a lot of chances with those construction sites. This is a very difficult environment. They're trying to get their best in as short time as possible, and you need to make sure that you give them this value, that they can understand this value, they can see this value, and if you do that, they are very ripe for that. They are very hungry to do that more and more and expand it within the company, but it must deliver this value that you promise all the time and over-deliver when possible.
And you see more and more that you see in the big companies that they are more, as you said, we really need to listen and to see how to tap into it step by step. Did you want to add something?
Yes. I joined this industry about 5 years back. I can justify that we're facing now a different stage already, because early it was, yes, can the construction and technology even mold together, like low-tech, high-tech? I think we're totally different place now, talking about digitalization in the site. People accept digitalization. What we need to do is to make our solutions replicating digitally the existing process, to use them or to homologate them or to get to use them much quicker. So I think the challenge now is not to convince people that digitalization is helpful. I think that they accept it already. I think that the challenge now is how to make the end-to-end solution platform, collecting data, processing data, analyzing data, how to provide this user-friendly, quickly, in order for people to embrace it quickly, in order to people to show to others that it brings them value. So I think this is where we are in adoption cycle more than the starting point of whether technology can bring value in this domain.
Thank you, Tal.
I think to his point, our users are, if you think from a product perspective, I'm a product guy. So from a product perspective, our users are much harder than consumer even. The products we make, the noise we need to cut through, and to your point, it's exactly, you need to embed yourself into the processes they do because they don't break them. That's the mindset of a construction.
You need to adapt yourself to them.
You need to adapt yourself to them, and this is something, one of our biggest, I would say, missions is to be non-intrusive, to have them do nothing and provide value within their own things. And this is something, I think the pandemic actually accelerated very much their adoption of, their willingness to adopt the digital solutions and to use it is really, I think, made a leap, not just in construction, in a lot of industries, but you can definitely feel that.
I agree. So to conclude this wonderful panel, like a very short answer, please share with me your 2 cents as grown-up entrepreneurs experience in your field. What is your 2 cents for the new construction tech entrepreneur? Like, Danny, what would you say?
Understand that the biggest challenge is to get more data.
Data.
Look at any other industry. This is what's missing in construction to do really the next revolution.
Tal?
Deep dive into the understanding of the real use cases and bring the value and focus. Like you are an entrepreneur, you have limited resources, you have limited time, you have to focus. You have to focus on what you are doing and where you put your resources, because the industry requires long sales cycles, requires a lot of attention. If you do not have the focus, you will miss it.
So data, use cases, and focus. Yakir?
I think what you've seen in the past few years, like a few years ago, in order to be an entrepreneur in the construction industry, you had to come from the construction industry. You had to be trusted. You had to be like 10, 20 years in the construction industry in order to be able to get their trust. I think it changed. I think that today you can come from outside, listen very carefully, try to understand why stuff happen, why they happen as they're happening today, and try to understand with the customer and consult with them how we can achieve the value that they need without changing the processes all at once.
You're talking about humbleness, to be humble.
Yes.
And Daniel?
Well, they all said great things, so I'll give maybe a more general outlook. I actually heard Elon Musk the other day, that I asked to him, but he had a great insight, and asked him, what words of encouragement do you have for a starting entrepreneur? And he said, if you need words of encouragement, don't become an entrepreneur. And the bottom line is never ever give up. It's not easy. You'll have so many ups and downs, and it doesn't matter if it's construction or any other industry. You just have to have perseverance and consistency and believe in what you're doing, and the rest will come.
I totally agree with this message of inner drive and resilience, and to continue all the way. Is not an option. Thank you all for your insights, openness, and wisdom, and for being pioneers. It's never easy to be the first one. Thank you so much. Aviv, back to you.
Thank you so much, Gali, and thank you everyone, Talia, Yakir, Daniel, and Danny, for sharing your perspectives and your experience in this very unique time of global changes.